my name is Brianna. Thank you for joining me on this tour of the Grand Canyon Caverns. The American Southwest is known for its rich human history, but it is also famous for its many beautiful geological sites. So let's go back some 345 million years ago to the early stages of formation of the Grand Canyon Caverns, one of the American Southwest's geological jewels. And let me show you how it became a visitor attraction on the historic Route 66 and why it is so significant. As you can see, this is the entrance into the cavern, and it seems like it's welcoming you right in to it. The Grand Canyon Caverns is one of the American Southwest's rare and beautiful jewels that has attracted people from around the world with its history and beautiful geological features. In this tour, I will briefly discuss the Grand Canyon's formation, its history, and other interesting stories and facts. It has been said that the Grand Canyon Caverns began formation approximately 345 million years ago during the Mississippian period of geological time. It was during the Mississippian period that the entire southwest region of the United States was covered by ocean. Mud filled with lime deposits was formed from the dead remains of tiny sea species. Over time, the base of the rock of the caverns formed as the mud turned into limestone bedrock. Then, as the ocean floor began to rise as a result of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, the Earth's crust split and a large amount of rainwater trickled into the limestone, which, as you can see in this picture right here, as the rainwater falls down, it starts to form the caverns. The acid solution that accompanied the heavy rainfall dissolved the softest parts of the limestone and thus formed cavities and passageways that filled with water. Eventually, the water evaporated and the cavities dried up due to a drop in rainfall and a change in weather conditions. The calcium carbonate, which was deposited by the evaporating water, created the formations of the caverns we see today. And as you can see in this picture, this is what it looks like inside the Grand Canyon Caverns. And as you can see, if you look closely at them, they look like grape clusters. And thus, that's why on the little label it has under there, they refer to it as grape clusters. Ever since the formations were created, the Grand Canyon Caverns have remained dry. Only 3% of caverns around the world are dry. Although the Grand Canyon Caverns have been here for millions of years, they weren't discovered by modern mankind until 1927 by a man by the name of Walter Peck. As you can see in this picture, he kind of looks like a cowboy, but he was actually a woodcutter. And he stumbled across these caverns while on his way to a poker game. Unfortunately, he ended up falling into a hole, but after that experience the next day, he took a few men with him to explore the caverns. While exploring the caverns, they thought they discovered a vein of gold. Believing that the caverns and the surrounding property was the ideal spot for mining gold, Walter Peck purchased the caverns and the surrounding property. He eventually found out that the caverns actually produced iron oxide and not gold. Nevertheless, being the enterprising man that he was, he opened the caverns to the public and charged visitors 25 cents apiece to explore the caverns. The visitors were lowered down into the caverns by a rope, which was tied around each individual's waist, and a hand-operated wrench. After After a new entrance was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps in 1935, Walter charged visitors to the Grand Canyon Caverns 50 cents apiece. And as you can see in this picture, here's a couple of men as they're working on that new entrance right here. And then this is also the new entrance with the steps. And also underneath that, they also had a few stairs that people had to walk down, but this made it way more accessible, so more people were able to explore the caverns, and that made it a convenient thing. In 1962, the natural entrance into the caverns was closed. A new shaft was put in at 210 feet below the surface, and a modern elevator was installed. Now I'll go ahead and tell you about a few interesting facts that I think you'll be interested in hearing about, particularly about the two skeleton story. Two brothers from the Hualapai Indian tribe died of the flu epidemic while gathering firewood at the Caverns hilltop during the winter of either 1917 or 1918. In an effort to avoid spreading the flu to the whole tribe, the Hualapai buried the two brothers in the hole on the Caverns hilltop. And as you can see in this picture, you have the two skeletons. Now, these aren't the original two skeletons, but it does give you a little better perspective as the original people who discovered the caverns and what they had actually seen. So this kind of allows you to kind of experience it the same way that they had. Due to the hole being used as a place of burial for the two men from the Hualapai tribe, the Hualapai considered the Grand Canyon Caverns area sacred and requested the natural entrance to the caverns be sealed. The remains of Gertie, an extinct giant ground sloth, is another interesting fact. She was found there as well, and as you can see, they even created a replica of her so that anybody on the tours visiting the Grand Canyon Caverns can get a better perspective of what she actually looked like. And they suspect that she fell down into the cave but was unable to actually get herself out of it. So unfortunately, she ended up dying in there. But luckily, we were able to replicate it so we have a better perspective of what they actually looked like back at that time. And she was 15 feet and 4 inches tall and weighed somewhere around 2,000 pounds. As I mentioned earlier, only 3% of caverns in the world are dry. The rest of the 97% of caverns still have some water and are thus referred to as wet caverns. And here is an example, a picture of what some wet caverns would have inside of it, and it looks kind of really interesting. It looks like something underneath the ocean, of what you would find underneath the ocean. And because they are still wet, technically they're still forming, so we might, over the years, it might end up drying out, who knows. In this presentation, we went over the formation process, the history, and a few interesting stories and facts about the Grand Canyon Caverns. I would suggest that you go and explore the caverns for yourself and discover more interesting facts about the Grand Canyon Caverns. I know you won't be disappointed. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching this presentation as much as I have enjoyed making it. Thank you.